South Korea has been shaken more than ever by senseless and inhumane crimes, from the so-called "don't ask why" stabbings to online murder threats. How is the country trying to tame fears and deal with the unprecedented wave of violence? We're joined by Kwon Hyuk-seong this morning to discuss. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me here.
The latest drama here in the country saw a man in his 30s threatening to hurt himself in northern Seoul over the weekend. Now, he was arrested after 2 hours of standoff, and he didn't harm or hurt anyone. But can or will he still be punished?
Well, in my opinion, yes, he could be charged and punished. Even if he didn't harm anyone, he did disturb the public without a reasonable excuse. And most importantly, he didn't follow a lawful direction of police officers. On top of that, I believe he actually tried to threaten the police officers with knives in his hand who were executing a lawful police duty. This can be accused of a crime named obstruction of performance of official duties. It refers to the act of obstructing or interfering with public officials, such as police officers, while they are performing their official duties. These kinds of behaviors can be sentenced with up to 5 years in jail or can be fined up to 10 million won.
Right. He didn't hurt anybody, and still the police was also threatened who were just fulfilling their duties at the time. But the thing is, they chose not to use tasers during the latest incident. The question is, when is it legal to use tasers in South Korea? I mean, can the police use it whenever they want or feel the need to do so?
So to make a long story short, yes, it is legal to use tasers in Korea. However, the police should not use tasers whenever they want to. But these recent series of senseless crimes outspoken in public can be a turning point for the police to use the lethal police equipment in a less restrictive way. The tasers have been adopted since 2004 after a tragic incident that 2 police officers killed by a suspect using a deadly weapon. The police wanted to adopt equipment which is less lethal than a gun, but effective enough for the suppression. However, after the several fatal incidents of the civilians by the police tasers, there have been strict guidelines and regulations for tasers. First, according to the Act on the Performance of Duties by Police Officers, the lethal police equipment shall be restricted to the necessary minimum. Also, before actually using tasers, the police should not only assess the situation whether it is necessary for the police to use tasers, but also warn the suspect for using tasers. And the police must avoid a lethal body parts, such as a neck or face, for the aim.
Right. Even if it's illegal to use tasers here in the country, it can be a complicated process. The South Korea's Justice Ministry is also planning to establish new legal provisions, right, to seek stern punishment for people who get caught writing online murder threats, including seeking damages. Now, how will that work? Seeking damages from suspects?
As you mentioned, the Ministry of Justice has announced that the government will officially file a lawsuit, including seeking damages from suspects. Well, I can say that the government suing a group of citizens for civil disputes is not what you can see every day in normal circumstances. According to the announcement that the act of writing online murder threats can be regarded as unlawful actions, provided that the government can argue all the costs for the police operations and government expenditures for prevention of potential public crimes which are caused by those people writing online threats shall be compensated by using legal establishments.
Then I have to ask you, how effective will the measure be? I mean, will it be effective enough to stop those people from causing such social disturbances?
Well, in my personal opinion, the idea for the government to sue dozens of citizens is more of a political show to satisfy an angry public and will not be very effective enough to stop potential anti-social criminals in the long term. First of all, I'm not sure the court will admit correlation and causality between the action of writing some inappropriate text online and the damages of the government. Secondly, even if the court acknowledged the liability of damages, I assume the amount of compensation would not be enough to scare the potential suspect. So I think this measure of the Ministry of Justice filing a lawsuit could be derived from the scope of temporal solutions for these unexpected situations.
Right, but in the meantime, the country is experiencing a serious shortage in the number of police personnel. Still, the government is considering reinstating a previously utilized auxiliary police system. What legal process should there be to bring those personnel back?
Well, the shortage of police personnel has always been an issue, especially after the auxiliary police system was abolished in May this year, and a new type of crime soaring these days in Korea. But the government and the police were failed to react in time, staring for a 100% predictable problem, which is a shortage of police personnel. Well, in fact, although there are no official recruitment plans for now, the legal establishment for the auxiliary police is still there. So it can be said it is solely up to the government's will and budget to decide whether the auxiliary police companies will be enforced once again for the safety of the public.
All right, Mr. Kwon, thank you so much for your insight this morning. You have a great day.
Thank you.